So this could be one of, if not the most historic pieces of news, not just of 2023, but maybe the last century of pro wrestling. And that is what I'm about to tell you right now. So all night it's been rumored, particularly here on my page, you see NoDQ.com, but it's been talked about in several different places now, that Vince McMahon and the WWE have sold the company to Saudi Arabia. Now, I want to go ahead and go through this article and tell y'all, because when I first was hearing this, I wasn't really sure. And then I got a DM from somebody who I trust, who's been very right about things before, and he says that the story is true. So I'm going to go into this expecting it to be true. I know some of you guys are probably like, let's wait for the official announcement, and you don't want to really believe it, but I don't think he would lie to me. This is true. Now, earlier today, Stephanie McMahon did resign as the CEO. If you remember, Nick Khan and Stephanie were co-CEOs when Vince stepped down, but now it's just Nick Khan and Vince. And if this story is true, which I believe that it is based on my friend telling me it was true, then this would explain why. It says here, following the news of Stephanie McMahon's resignation, rumors began to surface on social media in regards to WWE's sale, and Saudi Arabia was mentioned. Back to January 6th, FrontOfficeSports.com first reported that Saudi Arabia's public investment fund could be a possible bidder for WWE. We've been talking about this WWE sale for a while. Vince has been trying to get the company sold for a while, and he returned as the chairman a couple days ago to essentially be there to supervise a transaction of power between him and the buyer. Now, there were rumors about the buyer being Amazon. There was a rumor about it being NBC Universal. There were jokes being made about the Khan family buying it, Tony Khan and Shah Khan. There's been all kinds of rumors, Disney, but it looks like the buyer of WWE is Saudi Arabia's public investment fund. So they want to buy WWE. It says here on Tuesday night, Reddit user Kermit125, who has broken news stories in the past, wrote WWE has been sold. Stephen Mulhauser on Daz.com tweeted the following Tuesday night. Sources: WWE has been sold to Saudi Arabia's public investment fund. The company will go back to being private. What that means, y'all, is that the company is going to be leaving the New York Stock Exchange. They're going to revert the company to being private. So I'm not sure what that means if you're a shareholder, but it sounds like that the Saudis are basically buying up all of the stocks right now, and they're going to take the company private. It says here, unknown if Vince McMahon will return as head of creative, but it's expected by some people. So basically, Vince, even though the Saudis are going to own the company and they're going to be the official owners, Vince is still going to be in charge, at least from the executive point of view. We don't know anything about creative, but the reason why this is a huge story is because this is not like the Saudis own part of WWE. Like, for example, Flash Entertainment down in Abu Dhabi, they own part of the UFC. I think 4%. I forgot if it was 4% or 14%. No, this is the Saudi public investment fund buying the company outright. So the reason why this is a huge deal is because the Saudis, many of them, as you know, have very unique views when it comes to certain things. Some would say archaic. It depends on your political perspective, but they treat women differently than they do others. Same thing with other countries do. Same thing with gays and things like that. So I know there's a lot of people that have been making jokes or at least references tonight on social media about how people like Sami Zayn might have to leave the company. The women's division is going to change a lot because they're going to have to cover them up. This does not mean the company is going to Saudi Arabia. It doesn't mean they're going to take Raw off the air and move it to Saudi Arabia. That's not what's going on here. But the Saudis will be the owners of the company. They're the ones that wanted it. They're the ones that Vince made the deal with. And apparently, based on this story, which is true, that means that this Saudi Arabia purchase has been talked about for quite some time behind the scenes. This is not something that just was decided upon in the last week. I'm sure the Saudis have been trying to buy the company for a while. It's even possible that Vince was negotiating with them behind the scenes without telling anybody, because that's always a possibility. This is too fast of a story to break for it to be a situation where they just decide last minute. No, the Saudis have probably been trying to groom WWE into making the sale, and looks like the sale actually went through. Ca- Cassidy Haynes of Bodyslam.net. For what it's worth, I'm told the Saudi deal is done and they're taking the company private. So, some people have speculated that this means that the WWE is going to go back to being like violent Attitude Era style with blood because they're not going to have shareholders. They might not even have the same deal with Mattel. This is a huge situation here, y'all, because for the first time ever, wrestling, WWE World Wrestling Entertainment is owned by somebody not named McMahon. That's a big deal because this company has been with the McMahon since the Capitol Wrestling days many, many, many years ago. And many years ago. Then it became the Worldwide Wrestling Federation, then the World Wrestling Federation, and then WWE. Get the F out or whatever. So this is interesting. It says here, because CBSSports.com said, because Sean Ross Sapp said nobody has confirmed this in WWE. No, not everybody knows about this, is what's going on. It says here, I can't even get a response from basically anyone in WWE. As I've said all night, this is all second and third hand stuff, like I've heard anyways, but everything is hitting on the same notes. That said, it could all have the same incorrect starting point, have spread outward. The reality is, I don't think anyone's going to have any sort of confirmation on anything tonight. It's after 11 p.m. Eastern on a weeknight. You're not getting an announcement or real confirmation or something like this at this time on Tuesday. Yeah, but it could be in the morning. Some of you guys might be watching this video early in the morning, let's say 7, 8, 9 a.m. Eastern. They could make the announcement then. They could make the announcement at noon tomorrow. It could be at any point. But the story now, with WWE being owned by the Saudis, I'm not expecting any kind of crazy rapid change, but something is definitely going to change internally with the company because they are the owners now. It makes you wonder what's going to happen with talent. Will talent quit? Like, what's really going to happen? You have to remember when WCW, when Turner was bought out by Time Warner, including WCW, when the corporate heads at AOL Time Warner got their hands on WCW, that spelled doom for that company. Whenever an wrestling company or organization gets bought out by a bigger entity, it usually is bad news. I say usually because not always, because these corporate executives, as they say, don't really understand the wrestling business at all, and some may even look down upon it, for all we know. But that's more of like an American Western type of corporation. Here we're talking about Saudi Arabia, a country, a government, who does own things in this country. Make no mistake, they own a lot of things in this country you wouldn't even believe. It used to be a secret, but not anymore. And WWE is one of them. So I don't know what's going to happen, y'all. It's a little bit scary in the sense of we don't know what the future is going to hold for this company, what they're going to do. It's very unpredictable because they are the complete owners. They can do whatever they want. And Vince McMahon and the McMahon family will cash out. They'll probably stay as executives, even though Stephanie did resign. Vince will probably stick around as something. He'll do something, I would assume. But even if he doesn't, he's going to get paid. And that is it. That's the end of the McMahons owning wrestling, which is, to be honest with you, again, the biggest story ever. Think about that, yo. I mean, WCW dying, Vince stepping down last year were big. This one is bigger than that. Because this is like, we don't even know what the future will hold for wrestling. Will TV networks want to work with WWE? Like what? Like there's so many such undiscovered, outcomes here. Like what's gonna happen if people don't want to work for the Saudis? Are they gonna just leave and get released, or what's gonna happen with that? Like, will Mattel still keep their WWE deal? Like, this is a very bizarre story. I feel like not much will change, but I don't know, man. Part of me thinks it'll be exactly the same company as it was before. The other part of me thinks that slowly but surely, or maybe even quickly, there will be some changes. So, Saudi Arabia's public investment fund now owns WWE. That's crazy. Anyways, no, it's not been confirmed yet publicly, but it will be soon. I was told by somebody I trust, so we'll see what happens. Maybe we'll get more information later on. Take care, y'all. Have a good one.